you today about prospecting and how to never, ever, ever run out of prospects. And I want to maybe share with telling you a little bit of a story about how I first started in Forever, what happened in my first few months, and the naivety of what I did and how I did it. So I joined Forever on the 13th of August, 1993. I was 12 when I joined, and and that's why I've worn so well. Not the products are great, by the way. And in that first couple of weeks of that month, I literally focused on the retail opportunity. The retail opportunity meant that I took my box absolutely everywhere. I was going to have a cup of tea with a friend, go and have a coffee with a friend, have a play date with the kids. I would take my box into their house, put it on the kitchen table and say nothing about the box. Didn't even look at it, didn't refer to it. Until eventually, throughout the course of our half an hour together as friends, they would say to me, "What's in the box?" And psychologically, when someone says to you, "What's in the box?" they're giving you permission to explain what's in the box. So I'd open it up, and with a passion and with my own personal stories, I would share the key products in the box, and in turn, they would place an order. So in my first 2 weeks of being in Forever, I retailed 8.81 case credits. Sharp intake of breath there, because you're all going, "Oh my gosh," right? How many of you have done that in your first 2 weeks? Okay, why not? Oh, one did, Sue did, yeah. Why are you all sitting right at the back? Why not come and sit at the front? It's much easier. So, to me, that was quite simple. I mean, I was passionate about the product. I'd used the product. I got my own stories. So therefore, I really wanted to share them with everybody. And I wanted everybody to experience Aloe as we had done as a family. So I didn't find it difficult sharing the products at all. Now, that was in August. In September, my sponsor, who had only been in the business about 8 weeks longer than I had, actually said to me, "Jane, you need to be sponsoring, recruiting people." And I said, "Okay, yeah, I kind of get that, but what do I do and how do I do it?" Now, you've got to bear in mind, 26 years ago when I joined Forever, there were no meetings, no BPs, no trainings, no success days, no advisory board, no head office. There was nothing. All I had was a flip chart that we hand drew a little story of Forever on and a box of product. That was it. So as you can imagine, we weren't really set up as you all are now to really begin to scale our prospecting and scale our recruiting. And to be honest, if I'm being totally honest with you, I had no idea really what I was doing anyway. What I was ignorance on fire. And I think there's a little bit of a message there. You don't need to know everything, but you do need to do stuff. Because you never ever fail in what you're doing. You either win or you learn. So as I went into my first full month, which was September, my sponsor Chris had said to me, "Jane, you need to be now engaging with people." And so, can someone just take the lid off that for me, please? Thanks. So I said, "Okay, what do I do?" He said, "You need to write a who do you know list, a contact list." So I said, "Okay." So this is what I did. I wrote my first contact list. And my first contact list was 38 people. I thought I was going to be a double diamond Jubilee clip millionaire based on those 38 people. And of those 38 people, they were all my friends who were broke, negative, whinging, moaning, complaining, out of work, losers. Anybody written a contact list like that where you put everybody who is a loser on your list because you're terrified to put those people who you perceive to be better than you, career-wise, or more successful than you in society? We leave all of those off our list, don't we? How many of you done that? Yes or no? See, we're all more alike than different. So, here I was with my 38 names. and I was ready to conquer forever. Now, I picked up the phone, I made my first call to my friend Jackie. And Jackie said to me, Jane, it sounds amazing, but I can't do it. And I was like, why? She said, because I've just invested in a new high-end ladies boutique. It's like, wow. She said, actually, it's in the same town that you're in. I said, wow. She said, yeah, £30,000. That was a lot of money 26 years ago. It's a lot of money now. And I said, wow. I said, well, I've just invested in forever about £300. I said, but I'll tell you what, good luck, Jackie, and I'll definitely be one of your customers when I begin to make some money. And that was it. So the second person that I spoke to off my list was somebody I knew, an acquaintance who was unemployed. And she was a nice enough lady, but wasn't going to set the world on fire. But I remember going round to see her and putting my box on her table. And she said to me, Jane, is that aloe? I said, yes, it is. She says, I'm in. I said, sorry? She said, I'm in. What do I do? I said, what, you want to do it? She said, yes. What do I do? I said, I've got no idea. So I said, well, but if you leave it with me, I'll find out. So the next day I rang up the head office, which was a little tiny office in Selly Oak. And I said, somebody wants to join. What do I do? And they said, we'll send you some forms in the post. She needs to fill out a form and buy her box. So the forms arrived in the post. I went back to see Pam. She filled out her form. She joined the business. She got a box and she said, what do I do? And I said, I really don't know. Anyway, to cut a long story short, she went on to be a manager. She's still with me today. She's doing what she wants in forever, living the lifestyle she wants, and she was the second person I ever spoke to. And I remember going home when she said I'm in and saying to John, I've got this. I tell you, this is a piece of cake. It's so easy. Seriously, I'm going to be a double diamond in no time. So I got back to my list, okay? There's now 36 people left to talk to. And every single one of them was a no. Now, most of them were no politely, but some of them were no, and they weren't very nice. And back then, when I didn't know what to do with the word no, I just allowed the no to be a no, and suddenly I had run out of people. And I thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? How am I going to build a business when everybody on my list is either, well, two of them, one has joined, one's doing something else, and nobody else is interested. Now, how many of you at some stage have got to the point where you think, I don't know anybody, I don't know who to talk to, where do I find somebody? Who's had that thought? Okay, I'm going to share with you now how to overcome that and how to create the compound effect in building your business where you will never, ever run out of people. But what I will say to you is that first of all, your mindset is really, really important. Because for a lot of people, when they do their first who do you know list, they don't do it in a professional way. They don't do it in a way that justifies being successful in forever. Paul Brown, Diamond Manager in Forever, always said that you should do a who do you know list and start your business with the attitude that you've just invested £500,000 into forever. Correct, Paul? And yet most people do their who do you know list with a view, well, I've invested a couple of £100. If it works, great. And if it does, it doesn't, it's okay. You see, when I joined Forever, I did join Forever to be successful. I didn't join to give it a go, see if it would work, and I certainly didn't join to fail. So one of the things I did realise when I got to the end of my 38 names was I needed to learn how to become a master prospector, and I needed to learn how to understand the compounding effect. Now, if you think about it, we have many, many, many ways to develop your list. Now, nowadays, because we've got things like Facebook and we've got LinkedIn and we've got WhatsApp and we've got Twitter and we've got Snapchat, we've got all these social platforms, I believe people have become a bit lazy with doing a good old-fashioned who do you know list. And as a result of that, they depend too much on the social aspect of names than they do with the names of people they know where they're going to build that relationship. So the very first thing that I suggest to each and every one of you is your who do you know list is where you're going to find your customers, your prospects, your supervisors, your managers, your gem managers, and your long-time stability leaders. That's where you're going to find them. And your ability to develop your list every single day, to add people to it all the time, to keep it active, to keep it vibrant, to be on point with it, will be the difference between success and mediocrity. And no one joined forever to be mediocre, did they? So you need to understand that your who do you know list is a live, valuable document. In fact, I was talking to Miklos, who's a diamond in Hungary, when I was over there recently. And he said that his who do you know list is so valuable that every quarter he takes a fresh copy of it and locks one copy in the safe. That's how valuable it is. And professional networkers understand that. They know the value behind every single name. So how do we add to our who do you know list? Well, we have obviously, everybody's got acquaintances and people they know on Facebook. We can all engage with people and develop people from doing our launches. You know, if I'm doing a launch, at the end of the launch, I might say to Kath, thank you for coming and supporting this launch tonight. It's been great having you with us. Which product did you like best? Have you got any questions? Oh, and by the way, what do you do? And she could say to me, I'm a teacher. And I say, amazing, what age group? And I will engage with her as to what she does. And at the end of it, I would say, that sounds incredible. You know, tonight I've shared with you some great products, but behind this product range is an incredible marketing model. A marketing model where many teachers that I work with and me myself have managed to change our financial direction, and I would love to share it with you. Can we arrange a call? And she will go, yes. So what do? I put it on my list. She may say no, and I say, I get that. Maybe you're busy at school, but how about if we stay in touch and maybe speak again in a few weeks' time? And she might say, yeah, that'll be okay. So it's knowing what to do with the yes and the no the minute you engage in conversation. It could be that you do allo pop-ups. I know a lot of people that do pop-ups where they're selling products. And I say doing a pop-up is not just about selling a product. It's about the people you engage with in order to have follow-up conversations and to put them on your who do you know list. Contact marketing. Well, I contact market anywhere and everywhere. And I learned to do this actually out of adversity. Because when I first started in Forever and I ran out of all those names, I thought actually I need to begin to develop my list and learn how to add people to it. And back in the day, some of you will remember, and Natalie's in the room as well, we didn't have social media on day one. So we had to go out and be creative with the way that we interacted with people. So therefore, for me, contact marketing was great because it was cheap. It didn't cost anything. I had to leave my credit card at home because it was very tempting to go into the shop sometimes. So leave your credit card at home, take enough money to buy a coffee, and that's it. So contact marketing became a very, very valid way for me to develop prospects. And I kind of do it naturally now without even thinking about it. I'll share a funny story with you. I bought a new phone recently, the iPhone 11, with the fancy cameras on and everything, so I love photography. And I went into the Apple shop in Cardiff and I said, can I please have a phone? And when you go into the Apple shop, if you buy something, you kind of sit on one of their tables, don't you? And then there could be half a dozen other people sitting on the table with you, and everybody's being looked after by somebody. And the guy that was looking after me was actually a guy that was the photographic professional for Apple in the shop. So we got really talking about the camera and our big cameras, Sonys and Canons and what have you. We were swapping photographs and looking at stuff, and it was great. And everybody was sat around the table kind of watching us. And I said to him, I'll take the big one, but if I don't like it, can I bring it back? And he said, yeah, that's no problem. So I took the big one, got home and thought, it's too big. Can't fit in my pocket, it's just too big. So I rang up and said, can I bring it back? And he said, of course you can bring it back. We'll swap it and we'll give you the other one, the smaller one, and reimburse you the difference. So I get back there, and when I walked in, I sat at the table waiting, and he came up to me, he said, oh, hi, Jane. I said, hey, Rob, how you doing? And everyone at the table looked at me. I said, oh, and the reason that he knew me is when I left, I said, Rob, my name is Jane Leach. Don't forget that name. And so when I went back and he said, oh, hi, Jane. I said, hey, Rob, how you doing? Thank you for swapping the phone. And him and I got chatting, and there was a girl sat opposite me. She said, do you know him? And I said, no. I said, but he's given me great service. She said, well, he seems to know you. She said, do I need to know you? I said, yes, you do need to know me. You absolutely do. My name's Jane Leach. And I said, and what's your name? She said, my name's Claire. So Claire, what brings you in here? She said, I want a phone like yours. I said, why? She said, I'm just going to open up a coffee shop and I want to be able to take great images for social media. And we got talking about coffee. My son's got a lodge in Uganda. I said, you need to get some coffee off him. She immediately added me on Facebook and we connected today. Then this other guy said, well, do I need to know you as well? I said, yep, you can know me as well. What's your name? He said, my name's Nick and I'm a teacher. I said, Nick, you definitely need to know me. Rob then came back with my new phone, and before you knew it, the whole table was talking and laughing and chatting. And I had everybody's number. So do people need to know who you are? Do you walk along with your head down looking at the ground? Or do you walk along with your head up, engaging with people and smiling at them? When you first do that as an exercise, people think you're mad. There's a loony on the warpath. She's smiling at everybody. But you need to practice it. Happy people attract happy people. So building your who do you know list is absolutely vital. You can go to networking events, you can use flyers, you can use cards, you can leave a calling card with someone, you can engage with somebody and swap info, be it on your phone, on Facebook. There are many, many ways. But the key thing is to develop your list, because if you don't develop it, I promise you that the people that you know will be on somebody else's list. Don't be naive enough to think that everybody you know is only relevant to you, because they're not. And I'll share a story with you. I just got to manager in my 14th week. And I was seriously ignorance on fire. I just went crazy, retailing like mad. I think I'd recruited 7 people by that time. From those 7 people, we had 23 in the team and went manager. None of us really knew what we were doing, but we were doing a lot of it. It was exciting. Just got to manager. I've got my pin, and I'm feeling a bit cocky. You know, when you've got your manager pin, it's true, isn't it? Your shoulders go back, you stand up a bit, and you're just feeling like the bee's knees. It was the Milton Keynes business presentation. You remember it, Paul. And I blocked out the whole front row for my prospects, my guests. 7:45, people are coming in the room, and I'm saying, no, don't sit there for me. No, you can have the back row. No. 5 to 8, my seats are empty, and I'm beginning to get that sweaty hands feeling. And at about 2 minutes to 8, just before we were due to start, a woman walks into the room, and I went, oh, thank gosh. And then I thought, no, not thank gosh. And I'll tell you why. Because Sue was one of the people I didn't put on my list. I didn't put her on my list because I prejudged her. I thought, she doesn't need to go on my list. She's got a beautiful farm. Her horses are some of the best horses in the whole of Europe. She wins everything for in-hand show horses. 2 kids in public school, 2 big Shoguns on the drive, a great big horse box on the drive. She will never need forever. How many of you have done that? Right, well, stop it. Okay, let me tell you what happened. She walked in the room and she saw me and she made a beeline for me. And I'm thinking, no. And she came up to me and said, hey, Jane, how are you? Now, I'd known Sue since I was about 14. So she's a long-term family friend. I said, I'm amazing, Sue. How are you? She said, oh, I'm really excited. Trevor has invited me to the meeting tonight. I went, huh. How nice. I said, how do you know Trevor? She said, I met him at a horse show a few weeks ago. I said, oh, really? You don't know him then? She went, no. I went, oh. She said, I had a horse that was badly injured and he recommended this vet spray and this aloe vera jelly. She said, Jane, the product is amazing. I went, yeah. And do you know, Trevor said to me, Jane, Sue, if you work really hard with these products and recommend them to others, you can make an extra 1,000 to 1,500 a month. I said, oh, really? She said, and you know something, Jane, school fees are getting more and more and more, and an extra £1,500 a month would make a big difference to me. I went, yeah. We're about to start. Nobody's sitting in my seats. So I said, well, take a seat with Trevor. So she took a seat with Trevor, and at the end of the evening, she came up to me and went, Jane, this is amazing. I've simply got to get involved. I went, great. So she got involved with Trevor. Now, she went on to be a manager with Trevor, not me. He wasn't even in my team. I bet he was in your team, Paul Brown. That was 26 years ago. A manager is worth roughly £900 a month on average. 26 years at £900 a month. Can anybody do the maths? Thanks, Paul. Thanks. It's over £250,000. Because I didn't do a list, and because I prejudged, and because I didn't follow up, and because I thought that she wouldn't want to look at forever. How many of you have done it or are doing that right now? Can you afford to do it? It was a massive wake-up call for me. And it was then when I realized that actually all I've got to do is ask the question and let go of the result. Because if I had picked up the phone to her and said, hey, Sue, this is Jane, you know, how are the kids, how are the horses, how are things going on, she would have probably said to me, everything's great, Jane. Yes, I would love to look at what you're doing, or no, not now, or no, not ever. And yet because I prejudged and didn't understand the compounding effect, what happened was I didn't even talk to her. And somebody else got her. How would you feel if you were sitting in here today and you looked to your left and looked to your right and saw your best friend, a family member, a work member sitting by you and they weren't there with you? How would you feel? Yeah? So you have to understand the importance of a list which is ongoing and growing. Because if you don't, you're going to get despondent when you get the no, or no, not now, and you're going to think you're going to run out of people. And I'm going to show you how you categorically will not run out of people. So the most important thing is understanding the compound effect of what happens when you do and take your prospecting seriously on a day by day, week by week, month by month. And I will go as far as to say that I speak on behalf of myself, but I guarantee you all the leaders in this pod right now will tell you that when they're not prospecting, when they're not connecting, when they're not engaging with people, when they're not creating relationships, when they're not working with those who want to work, they feel twitchy, right? We feel twitchy. So we know enough to know that network marketing is about working, and it's about marketing, and it's about staying in touch and understanding the consequences of your actions either way. So let me share with you what I mean. You're never going to run out of people, ever. In the UK alone, there's close to 70 million people. And you can walk down any high street, into any shopping precinct, into any office, and talk to 100 people, and I bet you maybe one or two of them have heard of Forever, but nobody else will have done. You are never going to run out of people, because every single day there are thousands of people turning 18. There are thousands of people coming out of university, age 21, 22, young entrepreneurs looking for something. There are thousands of people who've been made redundant and need to hear from you. You're never going to run out of people. What you've got to learn to do is take action and then watch the compound effect work with the consistency of what you're doing on a daily basis. So the reason this says January is because I've already done this training once at my Kickstart event. It can be February, March, April, May, June. The impact is still exactly the same. So let's say we take January and it's week 1. Okay, we're working 90-day chunks. And the reason we work 90 days is because when you're working with a brand new FBO, a 90-day plan is believable for them. And if you're working with 5 legs all on a 90-day plan, you've got your hands full, you've got a lot of excitement going on, and you're generating a lot of case credits. So we're looking for this 90-day plan, and it starts with week 1 of whatever month it is that you're starting your first month. Now, what we say for those that are brand new in the business, for those of you that are maybe very part-time, doing it around other commitments, that we say this is a business and needs to be treated as one. In other words, don't do a bit on one day and nothing for a week. Then do something for a week and nothing for a month. Or make 20 phone calls in a day for 1 week and then do nothing for 2 months. This is about your ability to be consistent. So if we speak to 3 people a day, now, I mean speak to 3 people. I don't mean send 3 messages, then send 3 WhatsApp messages, send 3 Facebook messages. I mean engage. And that's a quick conversation. Hey Kim, how you doing? How are the kids? How's Marcus? I've got something I want to share with you. When can we have a quick chat or a coffee so I can just take a bit of your time to show you what I'm doing? Or, hey, Kim, I know that you've got a little one at home, Dorothy, and I know that you're probably getting to the end of your maternity leave. I think I've got something that you can build alongside the kids without having to go back to work. Or, hey, Paul, I know you've always talked to me about that amazing Bentley that you want to get. Well, I think I found a way that you can get that right now and not have to wait. Or, you know, hey, Katie, I know that you don't want to go back to work. I know work is frustrating you. I know you're ambitious. I've got something I'd love to share it with you. It's as simple as that. Now, it wasn't always that simple. My first few phone calls would be, hey, Katie, how are you? It's Jane here. How's the family? Oh, my God, I'm so excited. I've just joined this company, started by a guy called Rex Moore, and he's amazing. You have to see him. He's a real entrepreneur, and he owns the biggest aloe plantations in the world, and he's got this box full of products, and if you buy this box full of products, you become a forever business owner, and then when you're a forever business owner, you can start selling aloe vera, and when you sell aloe vera, you can start helping people, and you make 30%. So you can make £300 or £400 a month, and then when you've done that, you can build a team. Oh, my God, it's amazing. He's got 3 children. He's got this amazing diamond belt. Oh, you should see his rings. Anybody had one of those phone calls? Okay, stop it. Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. I remember ringing up. Oh, I was like that. I tell you, my phone calls could be half an hour. I remember one day having a phone call with the girl saying, hello? Hello? And she'd actually hung up and gone, and I didn't even know. I remember speaking to one girl in Buckingham, and I said, look, don't worry, I can't tell you on the phone. I'm going to come and see you. I'd already spent 40 minutes on the phone with her. And I remember driving up to her house to go and see her. I knew she was in because the curtain moved. And I knocked on the door and she didn't answer it. I looked through the letterbox. I went, hello, are you there? I could have sworn I saw somebody there, but she wouldn't speak to me. See, the key is you've got to learn to be short, sharp and sweet. Entice them and intrigue them where they go, yeah, I'd like to find out a bit more. So you're speaking to these 3 people a day. And all you're doing is engaging with them to see if they would like to have a chat with you. Like to find out a bit more. And as a result, you'll speak to 21 people in your first week. Now, when you think about it, that's 5, maybe 10 minutes a call. So you're doing between 15 and 30 minutes of activity per day. Now, remember, most people join forever because they want to become financially independent, maybe pay off a mortgage, pay off debt, make a couple of thousand a month, scale their income. I joined to make a couple of thousand a month, and I realised I couldn't make that kind of money by speaking to just 38 people. Okay? Especially when all of them, bar 2, said I was wasted time. So you've got to learn about the activity that you need to do. And if you can achieve your goals by speaking to a minimum of 3 people a day in the first 90 days and then scaling after that, I promise you're going to become a professional networker. Because what you'll learn in those first 90 days by speaking to 3 every single day is how to become a good communicator. Your first calls will be horrendous like mine were. The next lot might be a bit better. The next lot might be a bit better again. And finally, by the end of the month, you're probably just getting into the swing of it. But you know what? Once you know it, you can't unlearn it. And that's the key. But if all you make is 1 phone call a week, 1 a month, maybe 3 a year, you're never going to become fluid at having a conversation with somebody. And this is about having a conversation, not about doing a presentation. It's about the conversation and then taking them on a journey. So you're speaking to 21 in a week. What can we expect from that? Well, it's very simple. We know statistically, and this is not just me putting some random figures up here, we know statistically that from the 21 people you speak to, 5 will agree to receive some information. We know that. That information, that receiving of information could be they'll come and meet you for a one-to-one. It could be that maybe they will, they're very busy, but they'll receive some a video. It could be that they will come to a launch, and at the end of the launch, they'll then go on and progress to a meeting about the business. But they have agreed to have information because they're intrigued, they're interested. So we know that statistically. We also know that statistically 11 will say, no, not interested, not for me, no. With those people, what I do is I put them in a brought forward for about 12 months. But during that 12 months, I might send them the odd text message. I might send them a nice little screenshot from something that's happened in forever, a Facebook or a newspaper article, or something that is relevant to just keeping them up to date with who I am and what I'm doing. I might even add them to a Facebook group, but I'll ask their permission first. But right now, it's a no for them. But no is not forever. And then the last 5 will say no today. So I could speak to Kath, and Kath says, Jane, I've got a really big project on at work. What you're talking about sounds intriguing, but today, right at this minute, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm too busy. So all I would say to her is, look, I totally get that, Kath. Let's face it, I did just call you out the blue. Is it okay if you and I speak maybe in, say, 6 or 8 weeks' time? Maybe the timing might be better for you. And what I've got to share with you is too important for us not to have a conversation. Now, you need to say that. What I've got to share with you is too important for us not to have a conversation. What have I done by saying that? Is I've held the opportunity high. You've got to hold this opportunity high, folks. People need to understand the importance behind the message. And she will say, yes, that is fine. So the 5 that say no, if you engage with them and say, can we speak later on? So what I do, the 5 that have said no, not now, I put them in the diary for a follow-up call 8 weeks from today. Now what this means is 8 weeks from today, I've got 5 people in that week to follow up that I spoke to this week, but the timing wasn't right for them. Now you're going to begin to see the compound effect of consistent activity that may not bear results today, but will bear results in 12 weeks plus. And that's how you put a business into momentum. And any professional networker will tell you that. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So we go into week 2. And in week 2, you do exactly the same thing. You can always do more, but you never do less. You always do more and you never do less. And the statistics will work again. So what you'll find is in the 3rd week of March, you've got 5 more people that say, yep, give me a follow-up call, happy to hear from you. And you do exactly the same thing again in week 3. And guess what? The statistics will never lie. It could be a few more, it could be a few less, but they will always be consistent if you're consistent. And you follow that through, right the way through to your week 4. And in week 4, you speak to exactly the same amount of people again. By now, you've got your follow-up calls to speak to in April. So what that means is, if you look at January's activity, you will have had 5 people a week that say, yes, I'm interested, get me some information. So that's 20 people in the month who have said, I'm interested. So as a result, you will have engaged with them, got the information to them, taken them around the business cycle. And we know statistically, if you've got information to 20 people, that you will recruit between 2 and 4. We know that, categorically. So I'm sharing these figures with you based on reality. And I tell you something, once I knew what my stats were, this business became easy. Paul, you'll be the same. Natalie, you'll be the same. We all know our stats. Chris is going to come and share her stats with you in a minute. But we all know that we know it to be real once we know what our stats are. So what it looks like is your activity that you did in January okay, has put your business into momentum with those that will have joined from your productivity, those that are no, don't speak to me for a year, and 20 follow-up calls to make in the last 3 weeks of March and the first week of April. So think about that in context. If you've done that in January, then you do it again in February. In February, you're going to have people to speak to in April and May. If you do it in March, then you'll have follow-up people to speak to in May, June. So the compound effect kicks in, and before you know it, you will never run out of people to speak to on a daily basis because you are consistently doing the activity. And once you get that, I'm telling you, you've cracked the code. Because it only takes around about 15 to 30 minutes a day when you're very focused and very on purpose and very on point to connect and make those calls and to follow up. Now, there is a rider to all of this. Do you remember the first person I spoke to, Jackie, about the business, who invested $30,000 in a clothes shop? I invested £300 in forever. I kept in touch with her every single month, initially to wish her good luck, find out how she was getting on. It was always tough for her. Investment, a lot of investment into clothes, having to wait for people to walk in off the high street to buy her clothes or not. She was always stressed. And we compared notes regularly. My business was growing. She was static until eventually she went bust. 3 years later went bust, lost everything. I said, Jackie, you must be ready to join me now. No. I'm going to go in with a group of friends. We're starting a marketing agency. Another 10,000 invested. You would have thought she would have learnt a lesson. Now, by this time, I was on my way to Sapphire Manager, making quite a lot of money. You know, I was in my third year. I was making a 6-figure income. No stock, no overheads, no staff, no major investment, just consistent every single day activity. Doing what I need to do and letting go of the outcome every single day. But I still kept in touch with her. And then one day I was walking through Milton Keynes shopping centre, and John Lewis literally bumped into her. And before I could even say hello to her, she said, okay, I'm ready, I'll sign up. What do I do next? And I said, I'm sorry, I'm really busy. I haven't got time to work with you right now. And I did register her, and she did go to work, and she became my 25th manager and sent me diamond. Now, that would never have happened if my mindset wasn't one of consistent activity on a daily basis. You touch your business every day. You focus on income-producing activity. Most people think it to death rather than doing it to death. Because what happens when you actually do it and you're true to yourself is you will build the most amazing pipeline in those first 90 days. You'll not run out of people to talk to. You will have recruited some incredible people that will help scale you through to supervisor and beyond. But more importantly, you've got the infrastructure to be a supervisor. Now, if we look at the simplicity of what your job spec is, let's put it into sort of everyday speak. This is what you've got to do. In your first month, you are going to do 5 case credits. You can always do more, but never less. And these 5 case credits will come from a balance of your retailing and using the product. And you can be creative. You know, you can be as creative as you want to be. Launches, experience pack, one-to-ones, pop-ups, C9s. This is your product and it's your shop window. And if your box is at home, under the stairs, in the hallway, you are not open for business. If you have your products everywhere when you're out and about, you will never miss an opportunity to engage with somebody. And I can tell you, I've always got products in my car. And very often I will sell product out of the boot of my car. I'm not at a boot sale, but people I meet say, oh, Jane, you've got a Propolis cream. I was in Waitrose the other day, and one of my long-standing customers said to me, I need a couple of Propolis cream. I said, come out, Mary. I've got a couple in the car. Because I'm always prepared for business. And the other thing is, you can always do more, but you're going to recruit a minimum of 1 assistant supervisor in the month. Always more, but never less. And I've given you an overview of where you can find that person from. All of it feeds into your who do you know list. That can be through your contact marketing, through your social media, through your referrals. But that's where they feed onto your list, and you action your list every single day. Now, once you get that, And I could do a whole 2-hour training and drill into this. But once you get that, every one of you in this room can be a manager and you can go to Diamond. It's all based on that. How many of you could do that? How many of you could put that in your diary, diarise it, plan it, action it, and take it through to conclusion by the end of the month? How many of you could do it? Of course you can. Now here's the thing, if you can do it, you can teach it. And once you can do it and then teach it, you can have anything you want in life. Anything you want in life. Because all we do is replicate in month 2 what you did in month 1. So we work and we do another 3 case credits of personal use and retail. And we recruit a brand new assistant supervisor. Always more, but never less. But now we work with Sue and we show her to do exactly what we did in month 1. So we work with her to copy what we did. Monkey see, monkey do. This is a business of replication. This is a business of copying. So make sure what you're teaching is the right thing. Now, if you look at the 2 of us now, both doing 5 cases, which means we've got a 10 case credit business. And all we're doing is using and sharing the product, and every single day speaking to 3 people off our list, letting go of the outcome and building our compound effect for 2 months down the line. In month 3, we do exactly the same. Use and sell 3 case credits. By now, it's getting easier because you've got referrals and repeat business. So your retailing is becoming self-fulfilling, which is really exciting. You're going to recruit somebody else, always more, never less. You're going to make sure with Sue that she does her 2nd month, which is 10 case credits. You're going to work with Bill to do his 1st month, which is 5. Add it all up, you've got 20 case credits, 10 from the month before. You are a nice, new, shiny supervisor. That's it. And once you've done that, if you work with 5 lines, 5 people that all want to go supervisor, you'll be a manager really, 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 really quickly. Because all we do now is scale and rinse and repeat. Out of the 5 people that you're working with, bless you, got a product for that. As the 5 people that we're working with, we're looking for those people who get to supervisor and are hungry for manager. And statistically we know 1 to 2 out of 5 will go on and be a manager. And if you think about it, month 1, 2 and 3, you've done 5, 10 and 20 cases. Month 3 becomes your 4-month to manager plan. And all we're doing is using the product, sharing the opportunity and teaching others to do the same. We make contact. We arrange for a one-to-one or to send a video. We make a follow-up call. We answer their questions. We invite them to a BP, either online, round the kitchen table or at a forever venue. At the end of that event, we quite simply say, any questions? We answer their questions, we get them registered, they get their box, we sit down and we plan their first 90 days. That's it, folks. I cannot make it any easier for you. Now, sometimes people get despondent when they are taking action, but they don't seem to get the results. And I want to very quickly invite Chris Goldsborough to come up and share with you her experience of how she managed her mindset when she was doing the work but not seeing results. But what happens when you stay consistent? So Sapphire Manager, leadership, chairman's bonus, the whole 9 yards, the amazing Chris Goldsborough.
Hi, everybody. Oh, am I on? Yeah. Hi, everybody. Well, I've been in the business about 20 months. I was a manager. Not quite sure how that happened because, yeah, nor are you. Excuse me. She's nothing if not honest. Anyway, I blame my upline. I don't know how I got there because I joined Forever. Very excited about the whole marketing plan, very excited to earn a 6-figure income, and did everything I could in those 20 months to build a business without retailing product or sharing the opportunity with anyone. And because that's what I was terrified of doing. And so I'd started, and I had got to manager with, I think, about 6 people using a lot of product. but I was 28 case credits and nowhere near a six-figure income. And it was the January, and we sat down and said, I hit rock bottom really, because I look back over the 20 months during which I've been really, really, really busy. And I worked out that I'd spoken to 1.5 people a week. I won't tell you what my husband said when I came in weeping, because it didn't feel like that. And it was a real light bulb moment, because I realised that what I was missing was the consistency. And so I determined that I would just draw a line, and I would talk to 3 people a day. There were no stats back then, so I just picked 3 people a day out of the air, if you like, because it was a great deal more than 1.5 people a week. And I thought something's got to happen. So I was really excited. I'd also done my first vision board, despite being asked to do it for 20 months. I committed to absolutely do the activity. And I was excited, like we are when we leave here today. We've got our notes. We're really excited. Things are going to be different. This is a new year, new decade. We're really excited. That's how I was. It was 2000, so it was a new decade then. And I went away and I did my 3 a day, 3 a day, 3 a day. Not only that, but the first day I did 35 follow-ups. So 35 follow-ups, then 3 a day for 5 days a week. And I committed in writing to my husband that we would not eat on Friday night until I'd done my 15. We had some very late meals. And that's because I was so frightened that I put off doing the most important thing, the thing that frightened me most, and that was talking about the opportunity. And I put it off on Monday, put it off on Tuesday, and I'd start my 3 a day on Wednesday, maybe Thursday, and possibly Friday. And you just can't do that, because the compound effect doesn't kick in, and you don't get into the flow, and you don't get better at doing what you're doing. So after another 10 o'clock Friday night meal, Alan said to me, can you just do 5 a day for 3 days and then have the rest of the week off? And I thought, well, that maybe makes sense, because he said in his job he always dealt with the jobs he didn't like first, and then he could enjoy the rest. And so rather than 3 a day for 5 days, I did 5 a day for 3 days. So in the January, I had done at least 60 plus the 34. That was 94 people. And do you know what? I was ecstatic. Guess how many joined? None. So I rang Jane, threw up, not down, and said, you said that this would happen, and you said these stats, and it's your fault, and you're rubbish, and I'm rubbish, and I can't do it, and everybody else is really successful. And Jane said, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. So she said, keep doing it. So in the February, I carried on. And because I was doing, rather than just 3 a day for 5 days, I was doing the 5 a day for 3 days, I was suddenly doing 17 a week. Or 19 a week, because I was establishing a habit. It became easy. Something I'd feared I was in the flow. And so by the end of February, I'd done about 75 phone calls. I'd contacted over 75 people asking them about the business, which was just amazing to me. Guess how many joined? 1. Just to use the products for their friends and family. So I rang Jane, said, you're rubbish, I'm rubbish, everything's rubbish, forever doesn't work, I can't do it, all that stuff. And she said, keep going. So I started again, 1st of March. Did the activity consistently. On the 5th of March, I went to Warwick with 5 guests for the BP. Surprisingly, they turned up, and every one of them signed. On the 10th of March, I went to another BP in the Midlands, 5 people, all 5 of them joined. By the end of March, I'd not only sponsored 13 people in the month, but I was Professional Networker of the Month. Thank you, thank you. And my business took off. And I remember saying to Jane, when I sponsored 5, I went, I think I should stop prospecting now, because, I'll have too many people to work with. Anybody thought that? And Jane said, sponsor them, we'll find a way to work with them. And that was true, because of the 13, 2 got pregnant, 3 went on holiday, 1 got the flu. And, not everybody gets started at the same time. But what I learned was that my business took off, again, not because of those 13, but because I'd got the discipline of at least 15 a week in, week out. And what I learned was to let go of the result. And even today, I've had no results this week from prospecting. I didn't get my 5 yeses I was expecting. But I was really proud last night to pat myself on the back and say I'd done every single item on my 7-day plan. I'd contacted all the people that I said I would contact. And that's where we have to that's what we have to focus on, is saying I've done everything I can, hand on heart. I'm going to do the same again next week, the same again next week. And I promise you, if you do that, I've had lots of leaders who've heard this story many times, who've asked me the question, have gone away and done it. It's always the case. Within 3 months, within 4 months, your business will be unbelievable. But you have to be consistent. And when you're ready to quit, you have to get up and do it all again, because I promise you, it's worth it.
So it's all about having the confidence. Chris, there are steps down there, love. Yeah. No. So it's about having the confidence to actually... Give a round of applause, everybody. Oh, come on. So there you go. I've just given you the roadmap to success. It's down to you to decide whether you're going to do something with it or not. If you don't, then everything in your life is going to stay pretty much the same. And if you do decide to do something, I promise you, within 90 days, you'll be comfortable with the process. You'll be comfortable with contacting. You'll have a nice big compounded list to speak to, and you'll never run out of prospects. So I won't say good luck, because I don't believe in good luck, but I will say great success to each and every one of you. And let this 90 days be your 90 days. Let's see you being recognised for supervisor at the next event, manager by mid-year, by July, which means you'll be qualifying for Eagle as you go into next year, and who wouldn't want to go on their first forever trip? So have a phenomenal rest of the weekend. Starting tomorrow, 3 peak per day, be consistent, and I wish you great success. Thank you very much.